Okay, turn around. Does that do anything to you?
It has no effect on me.
Great, it's working!
Remember when a little monotone girl took over our TV? Not as personable as Siri, but not bad for 1985. That was Vicki the Robot, and this was Small Wonder, a syndicated sitcom where a suburban dad built a robot daughter and made her live in a cabinet. It was weird, some called it creepy, and it wasn't on NBC, CBS, or ABC. It didn't win any Emmys, and yet Small Wonder became one of the most unforgettable TV oddities of the 1980s, running from 1985 to 1989. Today we're diving into the show that gave Gen X kids a robot sister, a laugh track that never quit, and the weirdest family dynamics this side of Alf. And hey, if you're into weird TV like this, we've got a whole playlist of weird shows that somehow made it to air. Links in the description. Now, smash the like and subscribe buttons like Vicki smashing through a door with her super strength, and let's get into it. Part 1. The premise. Now, in the very first episode, we meet Ted Lawson, a robotics engineer at United Robotronics who created an android child named Vicki, initially intended to assist handicapped children. Vicki stands for Voice Input Child Identicant, and I repeat, it's identicant, not identical. A word that somehow sounded like it escaped from a Victorian science fair. It wasn't in any dictionary, but the show treated it like a high-tech synonym for same. So either Ted made it up or he was moonlighting as a steampunk poet. Nevertheless, Vicki looked like a 10-year-old girl, wore a pinafore dress, and talked in a monotone voice so flat it made Alexa sound like Meryl Streep.
I can fix it, Dad. I'm okay.
Ted brought her home, introduced her to his wife Joan and son Jamie, and said, "Hey family, here's our new daughter. She lives in the cabinet now," and they all just kind of went with it. And get this, she wore that same red pinafore dress every single day for the first 2 seasons. A pinafore dress in the mid-80s, when every other kid was rocking neon windbreakers and acid-wash jeans. CPS was oblivious. Not a single classmate questioned why this girl dressed like she time-traveled from a 1950s catalog or talked like a speak and spell. And somehow, whenever Vicki displayed her superhuman abilities, either nobody was looking or it got explained away with the flimsiest excuses. Apparently, in Small Wonder's universe, everyone was completely oblivious to both fashion disasters and robot behavior. That's peak 80s sitcom logic, baby. And Vicki, well, she wasn't your average robot kid because, you know, there were plenty of those running around for comparison. She came equipped with super strength. She actually karate chopped a coffee table part. She had an AC outlet under her right arm, a data port under her left arm, and an access panel in her back. But here's the thing about Vicki's powers. Some stayed consistent, like her super strength and data ports, but others would pop up for one episode and never return. Remember when she could elongate her neck, or that time she shrank to doll size? These abilities would appear once, solve that week's plot problem, then vanish forever. How convenient that Ted built a robot with exactly the power needed for each specific situation. Meanwhile, the nosy neighbors, the Brindles, kept popping up at the most inopportune moments. Brandon Brindle just happened to be Ted's boss at United Robotronics, and his wife Bonnie and daughter Harriet couldn't stop snooping around the Lawson house. Harriet especially had a massive crush on Jamie and literally planned to marry him. So this was our weekly dose of nonsense. A nuclear family, nosy neighbors, robot daughter, and not a single responsible adult in sight, and we loved it. Part 2. The cast. The cast of Small Wonder leaned hard into the absurdity and somehow made it work. Tiffany Brissette played Vicki, the robot daughter with zero inflection and the emotional range of a calculator. Dick Christie played Ted Lawson, the chipper but ethically questionable dad who built her. Marla Pennington was Joan Anderson Lawson, a stay-at-home mom and later a part-time real estate agent who shrugged her way through every sci-fi development with sitcom calm. And then there was Jamie, played by Jerry Supirin, the son who had to act like having a robot sister who lived in a cabinet was totally normal suburban life. Fun fact, it was actually rumored that a young Seth Green auditioned for Jamie. Imagine that alternate timeline. That would be worth $1 million. Anyhow, The Brindles, played by Edie McClurg, William Bogart, and Emily Schulman, served as the nosy, over-the-top neighbors. Emily Schulman played daughter Harriet, and did anyone else find her annoying? Was it just me? Okay. Edie McClurg was Mother Bonnie Brindle, and her voice could cut glass, and her delivery was always gold. William Bogart played Brandon, Ted's idea-stealing boss. Even comedy legend Alice Ghostly joined in for a recurring role as Ida Mae Brindle, adding even more character actor charm to the cast. Later seasons brought us recurring characters like Mrs. Fernwald, the bothersome social worker played by Kelly Britt, who somehow never noticed she was investigating a robot, and, get this, Vanessa, an evil robot who looked identical to Vicki, but didn't speak in monotone.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Jamie. Chocolate cake. It looks terrific.
Because apparently Tiffany Brissette was such a good robot, they made her play 2 of them. We'll get into some of the Where Are They Now updates in a bit, but for now, just know this ensemble somehow managed to make a robot girl vacuuming at light speed feel like must-see TV. Now, quick question. Did you watch this show back in the day? Let us know in the comments below. Part 3. Production on a Shoestring. Small Wonder was produced by Metro Media and didn't air on one of the big networks. Like many shows in the 80s, it was first run syndication, meaning it was sold directly to local stations. The upside of that was that there was no network meddling, but the downside was that they had a very tight budget. Sets were reused constantly, special effects were minimal, and Vicki's powers included vacuuming at high speed or lifting heavy objects with gloriously low-budget special effects. Most scenes were just people standing in the same room telling us what's happening instead of showing it, and the laugh track was absolutely relentless. It chuckled at everything. It was like a live audience high on sugar and trapped in a studio with no exit. Despite being wildly popular with kids, Fox, which bought Metro Media, wasn't interested in capitalizing on Vicki mania. There was no licensed lunchboxes, action figures, or Halloween outfits that ever hit stores. Only a rumored prototype doll that never cleared the pitch stage. They say there was a discussion about a cartoon series before saying no, and the show was so cheap to produce, it was virtually impossible to lose money on it, which was probably why they gave it a 2-year renewal for seasons 3 and 4 despite not caring about it at all. Despite that, the show found a loyal audience, especially among kids who didn't care about production values as long as something weird was happening. Part 4. The Writing. Most episodes followed a formula. Jamie tried to impress someone, Vicki would take a command like break a leg seriously, and chaos would ensue. The writers loved puns, idioms, and misunderstandings, usually delivered with deadpan robotic charm. But every now and then, Small Wonder would dip into very special episode territory, with its signature awkwardness and glitchy sincerity. There was Chewed Out, the anti-smoking episode in Season 2, where Jamie and Reggie try to look cool with cigarettes, and Vicki ends up puffing smoke out of her ears. And yes, even Small Wonder had a just say no moment in Season 3 Episode 5 because a drug dealer tries to offer Vicki drugs.
Putting me on, huh?
Putting you on, huh?
I like you, kid. I like you. And I think I got something here you're gonna dig. You know what these babies are?
They also touched on disability awareness in Season 3 Episode 6 when Jamie is paired with a student who has a hearing impairment. The dialogue was clunky, but hey, they tried. Even serious themes were wrapped up in 22 minutes with a hug, a pun, and a synth sting. Part 5. Behind the Scenes Drama. According to Emily Schulman, the cast got along great, but the parents, not so much. Turns out the real drama wasn't in the scripts, it was in the green room. The child actor's parents clashed so badly they needed 3 separate on-set tutors because nobody could agree on just one. Even Marla Pennington admitted she sensed the tension and stayed out of it. Tiffany Brissette's mom was apparently at the center of many backstage arguments, constantly pestering producers to showcase more of her daughter's talents. As Tiffany got older, she and her mother pushed for Vicki to evolve, with normal voice, different clothes, and even singing. The writers wanted to shake up the formula too, but creator Howard Leeds was like, nope, robot stays robot. Meanwhile, Edie McClurg bailed during Season 3 for a full-time gig on Valerie, later the Hogan Family. They replaced her character with Brandon's sister Ida Mae, played by Alice Ghostley, best known as the bumbling witch Esmeralda on Bewitched. Classic 80s sitcom move. When in doubt, bring in a wacky, previously unknown relative. Part 6, Character Evolution. Of course, keeping Vicki a forever 10-year-old got tricky as Tiffany Brissette aged. I wonder if anyone thought about how to handle that before the show got greenlit. Anyway, I digress. Somebody eventually realized that Vicki needed an upgrade, so in Season 3, the writers introduced a storyline in which Ted enhanced Vicki's appearance and capabilities. Her face got updated, she wore trendier outfits, and she could now eat and drink, supposedly to cool her system. The result was a robot girl growing taller, sipping juice, but still monotone enough to make a dial tone seem emotional. Part 7, International Popularity. Small Wonder didn't just captivate American kids, it mesmerized the whole planet. In Brazil, it aired under the name Super Vicki because apparently Robot Child wasn't dramatic enough. The show reached over 50 countries, including the Philippines, Indonesia, and Saudi Arabia, where it aired during Ramadan as a family show. In India, it was dubbed in English, Hindi, and Tamil. If nothing else, this proved one thing: weird, transcended language barriers. Part 8, Legacy of a Cult Classic Narrator. Critics hated Small Wonder. It frequently landed on worst of lists and was once called the worst sitcom of all time by multiple outlets. But fans, that was a totally different story. The show became a sleeper hit in the US because 80s kids loved Vicki, adults found it baffling, and nobody forgot it. After the series ended, it ran in syndication until 1996, then disappeared from American TV entirely. The show didn't resurface until 2015 when Antenna TV started airing it on weekends. They dropped it, picked it back up, dropped it again in 2019. Even the TV networks couldn't decide if they wanted it. It's even been parodied on shows like Family Guy, Robot Chicken, and The Goldbergs. Anytime a show needed to spoof weird 80s TV, Small Wonder was ready to serve. There have been occasional cast reunions and fan discussions about a potential reboot, but no official plans have materialized. Still, Vicki the Robot lives on in the collective Gen X subconscious. Part 9, was Small Wonder actually good? Look, okay, the term good is relative. If you were looking for great acting, sharp writing, and compelling character arcs, then no, it wasn't good. But if you were a Gen X kid looking for a show so uniquely odd that it burned itself into your brain, then yes, Small Wonder delivered. It was a time capsule of 80s TV at its weirdest, part morality play, part sci-fi sitcom, and part glitchy VHS tape. Somehow this show about a robot child and the clueless humans that surrounded her ran for 96 episodes, nearly double the combined total of Freaks and Geeks, Firefly, and My So-Called Life. And you know what? We're kind of glad it did. Part 10, Where Are They Now? Tiffany Brissette became a registered nurse and now lives a quiet life outside the industry. Jerry Sapirin has given interviews about his post-fame struggles, but remains grateful for his time on the show. Dick Christie continued acting and has had a long-running role on The Bold and the Beautiful. Emily Schulman transitioned to talent representation and works behind the scenes in entertainment. Oh, and she actually won Young Artist Awards in 1986 and 87 for playing Harriet, so someone appreciated her work. Marla Pennington stepped away from acting to raise her family, though she's appeared in reunion interviews. Edie McClurg stayed busy in Hollywood, voicing characters in animated films like The Little Mermaid, Cars, and Wreck-It Ralph. She's appeared in over 190 TV shows and movies. Unfortunately, McClurg has been dealing with health issues in recent years, including dementia, and is currently under conservatorship. William Bogart, who played Brandon Brindle, continued acting in shows like NCIS, ER, and The West Wing before passing away in 2020 at age 83. Alice Ghostley, who played Ida Mae Brindle, continued acting until her death in 2007 at age 81. Overall, the resumes aren't bad for a show about a girl with a data port in her armpit. Part 11, Home Media and Streaming. So where can you actually re-watch this beautifully bizarre time capsule today? Get this! Factory released the first 2 seasons on DVD, but the full series still isn't officially available. There's no deluxe box sets, no reboot, not even a Vicki voice-enabled Alexa, which feels like a missed opportunity. You can find bootleg episodes on YouTube though. Oh, and the series didn't end with a bang, but a business deadlock. Unlike most shows that got canceled for low ratings, Small Wonder was still pulling decent numbers, especially with kids. But the show had an unusually complicated ownership structure with multiple companies holding stakes. After reaching 96 episodes, the magic number needed for profitable syndication deals, the co-owners couldn't agree on whether to continue. Since they'd already hit their financial target and had enough episodes to sell in reruns forever, they simply stopped. There was no finale, no closure. Vicki was still sleeping in that cabinet and still fooling everyone despite 4 years of obvious robot behavior, and a nation of confused kids wondering what happened. Drop your favorite Vicki moments in the comment section below, or tell us which scene made you realize that this was the weirdest thing on TV. And if you need more forgotten sitcoms and retro deep dives, we've got a whole playlist of this stuff, because apparently this is what we do with our midlife crisis. So until next time, remember when TV was this wonderfully weird?